Hey everybody, Jeff King here.
Hi again.
Megan is back with me. We're going to be talking about Spookre, a 3 to 5 player trick-taking game that is coming to Kickstarter. When you see the game behind us, don't pay attention to the back of the cards on the preview copy that we got. It's actually going to go live, I believe, July 5th. So Wednesday, right after the holiday, Wednesday, July 5th, it should be live on Kickstarter. And like I said, Spookre is a 3 to 5 player trick-taking game. The idea behind it is that you're trying to profit off of your creepy old haunted mansion. And in order to do that, you only have so many ghosts that are haunting your mansion at the moment. So in order to draw in more attractions and people, you enlist the help of those ghosts to go to the graveyard and convince other ghosts to come back and haunt your mansion. So it's again 3 to 5 player game. The trick taker, you get a hand of 5 cards. 5 cards will go out in the middle for the graveyard. The leader will pick a ghost that they want to go after and play a card to it, and everybody else will play a card to it as well. The idea is to be the strongest ghost underneath the strength value of the ghost you're trying to convince to come back to your mansion. So for instance, if it's a 26, 25 and under is what you're trying to play to potentially get it. Now, the caveat is if everybody plays above, then it's the highest ghost overall. So for the 26, even if you play a 27, if somebody plays a 30 or above, the 30 or above would get it. The other thing that will come into play is that the ghosts have auras. So you see here, this little icon off to the side is its aura. If a player plays another ghost that matches that aura, then whatever special ability on the card they played triggers. And that'll do things like swap out a ghost, look at another player's hand. There's just various little abilities that will go. So you may play a card to try to win the trick. You may play a card hoping that what you swap out helps you win the trick. Or maybe you don't have a lot to do that round, but you have something that you can at least look at another player's hand or something like that. And basically, that's the gist of Spookre. You're going to go number of rounds equal to number of players, so everybody's going to get a chance to be the first one to lead a trick for a night. And then once the game is over, and you basically count up how many ghosts you convince to come back to your mansion, whoever has the most ghosts wins. If there's a tie from that, then you go with whoever has the highest strength ghost. And that's Spookre. Really quickly. So Megan is here with me tonight because she is a casual gamer. Although, I don't know. I'm starting to think it's about time to pull that card away from you at some point.
No.
But she does enjoy card games and trick-taking games. So we wanted to bring her in and see what her opinion was of Spookre from the casual gamer perspective. And from the perspective of somebody that enjoys playing card games, kind of grew up with playing card games, and now is kind of getting introduced to these style of card games that have kind of that board game, ability type stuff associated with it. So what did you think of Spookre?
I really enjoyed it. I obviously like the theme. I think ghosts are usually my thing. I always like trick-taking games. I grew up playing hearts, rummies, cribbage, those kind of games. Yeah. So
I was a spades guy.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that before.
I learned euchre once, but that's about it.
I've never played euchre.
But I really enjoyed it. I think it's an interesting take, interesting theme and take on a trick-taking game. I like the little auras.
Aura, yeah.
I didn't know what the name was, but that's the name. But I like that because that really comes into play for your strategy. And that's one thing I really like about this game is I can think, 5 steps ahead. I pretty much, as soon as I get my hand, I have an idea of where I'm going to play everything. Okay, maybe not everybody's like that. I would like more cards, but that's just me. I like having more cards. I enjoyed it when we played the other night with 4 people. I think that was a little bit better game, just because you really get to. I think the aura was really come into play a little bit more with that.
With the more players, yeah. The other thing too is depending on the number of players, you're going to add in or take out cards as well. So the deck will be bigger or larger. So the other thing that this does that I don't think you've played yet, because you haven't played the one that I designed for you, but it does something similar, is the fact that you're not only taking a card to score it, but you're taking it out of commission.
Yes.
So what do you think about that?
It sort of reminds me of Hearts. I mean, okay. That's where I think.
See, I've never played Hearts.
Yeah. Which goes into the strategy too, because once you see some of the cards that are gone, you know, okay, well, obviously that eliminates those cards in between when you're trying to play closest to the number. So there's a lot of, I hate the term card counting, but that's what it is. Yeah. So I like I said, playing Hearts, I was already doing that.
So there's also at least one Grim Reaper in the deck. Depending on the number of players, there could be two. One of the other things that's kind of interesting to me is there's a decision-making factor. Basically, the Grim Reaper kind of becomes your trump. Whoever has it is almost guaranteed to win the trick. Now, there's some things that can be done, like the abilities and stuff that could make somebody either put a different card out or swap it out from the graveyard, all those kind of things. But the swap out from the graveyard is kind of where I find it interesting on the decision-making factor for the Grim Reaper, because you can play the Grim Reaper right away and take a trick. You know you're going to take that trick. But one of the things I feel you got to kind of think about is then that Grim Reaper is going into the graveyard. And there is an ability on the ghosts, on some of the ghosts, that if you play it and match the aura, you get to replace your card with one from the graveyard. So basically, you've kind of potentially put the Grim Reaper in play for anyone when you use it. So that's one of those things that's like, you know, I want to take a trick because maybe you want to lead because maybe you've got some numbers that are pretty close right underneath the ghosts and you want to kind of get to those right away and try to see what you can get out of other people's hands. But do you want to take a trick early with the Grim Reaper on that possibility, but then you end up putting the Grim Reaper in the discard pile, and now it's basically public domain. Anybody can grab it if they can match the aura. So that's kind of an interesting thing to kind of think about while you're playing the game. What do you feel about like the Grim Reaper and that ability?
I like it because any trump card I like, and I tend to hoard it to the last second so that somebody can't steal it from the graveyard. Plus, again, it goes into that strategy of like, well, I'm fairly certain I'm going to win these cards, but I have no chance at winning this one, so I'll keep the Grim Reaper for that. Right,
because it happened a lot during our 4-player game where the Grim Reaper got used early and suddenly it was constantly getting recycled out of the discard pile. Yeah. So that's something to kind of watch out for and be aware of. But it does give you that extra decision-making factor and potential pain point in the game. You know, it's short benefit, long-term pain point potentially. And by long-term, like 5 cards. You know, it's not going to... That's the other thing. Rounds don't last terribly long. It's a very quick, fast game. I believe they are going with 8 minutes per player. Feels about right. I think even with enough people, or you know, once you start playing, it's going to be even shorter than that potentially to keep going. So, any other thoughts for Spookre? What do you think of the art for the ghosts?
Pretty good. They're pretty monochromatic. I mean, that'd be my only thing, and I don't know if the blue is necessarily the right color, but I think they're cute. They're cartoony. So I think if you do play with kids, it's not going to be too traumatic. But that's the other thing is I usually look for games of whether or not I can play with nephews and nieces and other kids. And I think this would be good for your preteens, little kids. I think the strategy is may be a little difficult, but again, I don't know. I was playing Hearts as a kid, so I guess it's going to depend on the kid.
Depends on what you're used to playing. Yeah, Megan brought up kind of a good point too. I mean, there's all these different ghosts and stuff, and they're hand drawn. You can see some of them hopefully here, but they're not. There's no gore. There's nothing like that. They're not meant to be kind of in the hardcore horror genre or anything like that. It's meant to be a fun and friendly game, and that definitely comes across. All right. So with that, I think we will end our review of Spookre. Again, I don't have a box or anything to show you. We got a preview copy. Check out the Kickstarter. It'll have updated art and all that good stuff. I know they've been working on some of the art. They've been working on the box cover and all that stuff. So go check those things out. Again, it's launching July 5th, and I say check it out, especially if you're looking for another trick taker game. And I like trick taker games that bring a little bit of something to it. So the aura matching and the abilities and stuff give you that extra bit of strategy. So definitely check it out. Again, July 5th. Let me make sure I got it the right way. Spookre. Don't worry about that bit on there. Spookre. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll be back very soon.